We are still on the topic of plant organs under the shoot system, and for this video, we are going to talk about the leaf. The leaf is usually a thin flat organ, which is the main organ responsible for photosynthesis. So what is photosynthesis? It is the conversion of carbon dioxide, water, and light into sugar. Another function of the leaves is transpiration. It is the process of losing water in the form of vapor, and this process is what produces the cooling effect of plants. So the first two functions of the leaves will be further discussed in a separate video. Guttation. It refers to the secretion of water droplets from the openings on the edges of the leaves called hydatodes. So guttation usually happens in herbaceous plants when the humidity and the root pressure is high and the rate of transpiration is low to none. So normally at night. Also, some leaves have defense mechanism. These are modifications in their structure to avoid being eaten or damaged. For example, the spines of cacti. Some also develop waxy coating to prevent water loss. Lastly, since the leaves are the main site of photosynthesis, they serve as storage of water and nutrients. The basic structure of a leaf includes the blade or the lamina. So the lamina or the blade is the broad portion of the leaf. So this is the blade. The apex is the leaf tip, and the base is the area of the leaf that connects the blade to the petiole. So this is the petiole, and the base is here. The petiole is a thin stalk that attaches the leaf to a stem node. So a leaf with a petiole is called petiolate, whereas leaves without them are called sessile or the stalkless leaves. The margin is the edge of the leaf. So this is the margin. There are several types of leaf margin, but basically we can group them into three: the smooth or the entire. An example is this figure. The other one is the tooth, those with sharp projections, and the lobe, those with rounded projections. Next part is the midrib. So this is the midrib, the central vein. Arising from these are the veins and the veinlets. Okay, so this is the midrib. These are the veins and the veinlets. So these have vascular bundles that supports the leaf and transport nutrients. And the last part is the stipule. This is the stipule. Stipules are usually small projections found at the base of the petiole. Its main function is to protect the developing buds. Now, let's proceed to the cross-section of a leaf. The epidermis is the outermost layer of the leaf, which is present in both the upper and the lower surface. The cuticle is the waxy protective outer layer of the epidermis that protects or prevents water loss from leaves. Beneath the epidermis is the mesophyll layer, which is further divided into two: the palisade and the spongy mesophyll. So these two are the photosynthetic layer of the leaf. The stomata is a small opening present around the epidermis, which allows the exchange of gases and also removal of excess water through transpiration. So these are the small openings. And the closing and opening of that stomates or that opening is controlled by the guard cells. These are the guard cells. Normally, these guard cells are kidney-shaped. And lastly, of course, we have the vascular bundles. These are the vascular bundles. Some leaves also have leaf hairs or trichome. So this is the appearance of a leaf hair or trichome. They can be unicellular or multicellular projections, and they can provide physical defense or excrete chemical compounds. For the leaf venation, there are two types, parallel and reticulate. For parallel venation, the veins run parallel to each other. So they are parallel to each other. This can be seen in monocots such as corn. Reticulate venation or netted venation are seen in dicots. So in this type of venation, the veins or veinlets are randomly arranged to form a complex network. For the orientation or the two surfaces, the adaxial or the dorsal or upper surface is this, adaxial. And the lower surface is the abaxial. For the leaf types, in general, there are two leaf types, the simple and compound. Simple leaf is when a single blade is connected to the main stem by a petiole, while compound leaf is made up of two or more leaflets. So each leaf here is called a leaflet. So these are leaflets. And this is the leaf stalk or the rachis. Compound leaf is further classified into several leaf types, but we can compress that into three, the pinnately, palmately, and bipinnately compound. So when we say pinnately compound leaf, the leaflets are arranged on both sides of the rachis, while palmately compound leaf is when the leaflets arises from one central point. So this is like the fingers in a palm. So that's why it is called palmately. And bipinnately or the doubly compound leaf, the leaflets themselves are compound. So these are leaflets. And the and each leaflet is pinnately compound. For the leaf arrangement or the phyllotaxy or the pattern of arrangement of leaves on the stem or branch, we have alternate. When we say alternate, a single leaf arise from each node. So this is a node, and each node you have a leaf and a leaf. For the opposite, for each node you have a pair of leaves. For the world, each node has more than two leaves. For the leaf modifications, we have leaf tendrils. So similar with the stem tendril, the function of this leaf tendril is to aid the weak stem by attaching to surfaces. So this is the leaf tendril, and instead of producing a leaf or leaflet, they are modified into thread-like structures. Next is the leaf spine. So some plants have leaves that are modified into needle-like structures, and these are called spines. So leaf spines, they act as defensive structures, and also they aid in the reduction of water loss due to transpiration. So example of this modification can be seen in dragon fruit and cacti. Trap leaves. So this is an adaptation of a plant growing in areas with low nutrient availability. An example is this, the sanju or the drosera. So they grow in a condition where nitrogen is not readily available, thus the insects they feed on or they trap serves as the main source of nitrogen. Next is the bracts. So these are leaves that are modified to have different colors and look like petals. But the real flower here is this. So this colorful one is the bract, is a leaf. So the function of bracts is to attract pollinators. So scale leaves. So these are thin membranous structures without stalks. And normally they are a bit brownish in appearance. So their function is to protect the emerging auxiliary buds. In the case of onion, however, the scales are colorless, fleshy, and thick. So the function is for storage of food and water. Leaflet hooks, such as in cat's claw creeper or the Bignonia unguiscati. They have these hook-like terminal structures that aids in climbing. Phyllodes, is actually a petiole that is flattened and looks like a leaf. Leaf bladder is usually found in aquatic plants. These are modified into sac-like structures, and the inner wall of this leaf bladder has digestive glands which helps in digesting the trapped insects. An example of this is the Utricularia. Next is the storage leaves. So these are usually found in plants growing in areas with limited water or what we call as xerophytes. So these are characterized by having thick leaves for water and or nutrient storage. An example is the aloe vera. Lastly is the reproductive leaves or the kalanchoe. So reproductive leaves produce plantlets along the margin. So these are plantlets. So eventually these plantlets will fall off the ground and will develop into a new plant.